the kind of the cognitive side of things, the behavioral changes that you kind of implement in people, is there any advice that you could give to, especially on the diet side of things, that you can give, just quick fire advice that perhaps could help them in the interim?
So biggest question I think would be, well, there's two big questions. One is like, am I hungry? Am I full? So getting in line with hunger and satiety signals. But the second question, which I think is more powerful, will probably help with that. And that is, why am I eating this? Like, what need am I serving by eating this? Because it's not often, or it's not always, should I say, hunger. So, we don't just eat because food is fuel. We eat for a barrage of different reasons. We eat because we're bored. We eat because we want to be distracted. We eat because we're procrastinating a big deadline, or, we're nervous about something. Or maybe we don't eat because we're nervous, or we eat because we're angry. We eat because we're stressed. We eat because we're sad. We eat because we're happy. And some of that will be childhood conditioning that's been carried through. But some of it is just the physiology in terms of what happens hormonally inside the body when we have these experiences, or we experience these emotions, and how that drives us towards often ultra-processed, carbohydrate and fat-rich foods. So thinking about why we're eating, say, for example, you were at a friend's birthday party and you were full, but you were handed a piece of cake because it's their birthday. What are you going to do? You're going to say, no, I don't want the cake, I'm full. You're not going to do that. You're probably going to have the cake. You're going to oblige. But the problem is we oblige in so many circumstances. And I see this a lot in people who maybe do like client entertaining or client dinners, or go to like events and awards and ceremonies and things like that, because they almost feel obliged to. And I say almost, like they do feel obliged to, but I put the word in almost because it's not black and white. Like we can start to change that. We can start to question. So one of the trends I've seen is people that seem to work in financial services tend to have this need or desire or expectation that they will drink alcohol. And it seems to be in that service more, again, just in my experience of people I've worked with, more than other sectors, for example. And they're like, but, and the women would say, but if I'm not drinking, they're going to think I'm pregnant. I'm like, well, isn't that interesting? Let's explore that.
Yeah. I think the finance centre in London as well is quite bad for that.
Exactly that. And I think people get ostracized, and I definitely felt like this, for eating well or eating healthy. So I remember the nurse would be like, ooh, what's this healthy food that you have with you today? And they would make fun of me. And I found that really uncomfortable. So I'd be like, oh, well, it's not really that healthy, but you know what I mean? And that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
It's a lack of education, though, I suppose, from their part as well.
Yeah, and I think sometimes if somebody brings in something that's healthy and they're doing that and they're doing really well, then it can shine a light on others as to, oh, I'm not doing that, therefore I'm less than, so I'm going to say this to make myself feel more than. And there's actually a story of two nurses that were in the staff room, and one nurse said to the other nurse, like, this is an experience that I had at work. You're so skinny, oh, you're too skinny, oh, you need to eat more, And this girl was very, very slim, but she didn't want that to be pointed out. She wasn't proud of it. And she just turned around and she said, yeah, and you're too fat. You are way too fat. Do you hear me going on about that every single time? So will you shut your effing mouth? And I was like, good on you.
Yeah.
So people are skinny shaming, and people are healthy food shaming, and people are fat shaming. And like, it's just this big thing that we just all need to support each other.